hair bands. When you try to get a cat to eat something, like medicine, he resists as hard as he can. Then you turn away, and the cat eats some nonsense. If a cat swallows a long foreign body, a long thin object like a hairband, or several rubber bands, at some point the thing may get stuck. Most often rubber bands get stuck at the root of the tongue. But the esophagus or the entrance to the stomach acts as an anchoring point. Peristatic or wave-like contractions of the gastrointestinal tract force the food to move on until it gets stuck. When this happens, the other half of the food along the gastrointestinal tract will move further. The gastrointestinal tract beneath the glued object will form a fold and the object will move forward. The gastrointestinal tract will become blocked and the affected area may die if the fold remains. If the colon becomes blocked, feces can enter the abdomen and cause peritonitis, which is a deadly disease. A wide rubber band caught in the intestines can also cause life-threatening peritonitis. This is an inflammation of the membrane covering the abdominal wall and abdominal organs. Or the rubber band will cut off the blood flow, causing the tissue to die. A Thai turtle swallowed more than 900 coins. A 25-year-old turtle from a zoo in Thailand became a media hero when 915 coins were removed from its stomach. It turned out that the coins got into the turtle's body because of a belief among tourists. Tour guides tell vacationers that if you throw money into the pool with sea reptiles, they will definitely return to the resort. Zoo staff sounded the alarm when they saw a turtle swimming with a large lurch to its right side. An examination showed that there were too many metal coins inside the sea creature. The sea turtle has recovered and can swim again. As veterinarian Nantarika Chansi, who operated on the reptile 5 days ago, wrote on her Facebook page, the patient is not allowed to stay in seawater for the time being. However, she is already on the mend and can swim again. According to the doctor, the turtle has already been launched into a small pool and now it looks very happy. The dog ate 111 coins. Veterinarians performed a complex operation on the dog of an economist from New York, during which more than 100 coins were extracted from the body of a terrier named Jack. As it became known, the old dog belonging to the economist from Wall Street mixed up food with scattered on the floor coins. As it turned out, the dog smelled a bagel, which the owner brought home in a bag, so he went inside in search of food and came across the coins. 24 hours later, the dog began vomiting. When the owner brought the dog to the veterinarians, they x-rayed the dog and found a handful of coins in his stomach. The surgery was performed immediately, as the zinc contained in the coins was fatal to the animal's kidneys and liver. The operation lasted more than 2 hours. Veterinarians extracted 5 coins from the stomach of the animal in one approach. Shortly after the surgery, the dog recovered quickly and went home a few days later. According to Dr. Amy Zokman, if the owner had brought the pet to the clinic at least a day later, Jack would have died. A tiger shark jerked his hand away and helped solve the crime. In April 1953, a local fisherman caught a rather large tiger shark in Sydney. After about a week, the prisoner suddenly became very restless and as a result spewed the contents of her stomach into the water. A human hand with a piece of rope wrapped around its wrist was floating among the remains of various animals, including a bird and a rat. The gruesome find was immediately placed in the morgue and began to be examined. It turned out that the hand had not been bitten off by a shark, but rather neatly cut off with a sharp knife. However, to all appearances, this was not the work of a surgeon's scalpel, but rather a butcher's tool. After that, police experts got involved in the case and identified the owner of the hand. He turned out to be one James Smith, who played on Underground Sweepstakes, was once a boxer, and lately maintained his own billiard room and socialized with various criminal personalities. Smith himself disappeared shortly before the whole affair, in early April. The police were on the trail of 2 men, both of whom may have been involved in the murder. The case went to trial, but both suspects were acquitted as a result. A whole deer. This video captured a giant python that swallowed a deer. The incident was captured by a video camera installed near a lake in India. 4 deer approached the water and began to drink. At this time, a python that was hiding under the water jumped out of the lake and pounced on one animal. First, the snake sank its teeth into the deer's head, then coiled around it and began to strangle it, and after a while it swallowed the deer whole. Pythons are some of the largest snakes in the world, averaging between 3 and 6 meters in length. These reptiles are dangerous predators that strangle their prey before eating it. Their elastic skin and jaw structure make it easy to swallow a large animal whole. Crocodile mummies. The State Museum of Antiquities in the Netherlands contains one of the world's largest collections on the subject of ancient Egypt. Among its exhibits is a crocodile mummy about 3 meters long. Back in 1996, scanner research revealed that the mummy was actually a composite mummy. 2 crocodiles of different sizes had been swaddled in a single burial cloth. The museum recently opened a new exhibition about ancient Egypt, and in the process of preparing it, scientists were in for a surprise. Ultra-modern scanning technologies, which were applied by specialists, allowed to examine the exhibit in detail, and it turned out that around the 2 mummies of adults there are about 50 more cubs. Egyptologists do not have an unambiguous answer to the question of why this was done. According to one theory, buried together crocodiles of different ages could symbolize eternal youth and life after death. Another theory explains the unusual nature of the mummy by the need to placate the god Sebek, but at the time of offering him ritual gifts, there was no crocodile of a decent size. The vet pulled a large spoon out of the dog's stomach. Theodore swallowed a spoon from the table, but fortunately did not cause any damage to himself. A dog caused a stir when it swallowed a spoon more than 14 centimeters long. Theodore had just eaten lunch when he snatched the spoon off the kitchen table. Vets had to anesthetize the puppy so the spoon could be removed. Surgeon David Martin said, "We often come across pets whose owners think they have swallowed something they shouldn't have. Often what animals swallow just comes out without causing any problems, however not in this case. It certainly didn't cost Theodore anything to swallow a whole spoonful. But there are very few ways to get it out of him through all the loops and twists of his intestines. It took a while to find the spoon since Theodore had just eaten, but eventually it was found and we carefully maneuvered it out. The surgery was carried out at the post-veterinary practice, following x-rays. David inserted the gastroscope camera through Theodore's mouth to find the spoon. Then, with the help of additional instruments, extracted it. Theodore was tolerant and suffered no lasting damage for his ordeal. 30 minutes after the procedure, he was awake and cheerful. The frog threw up a new species of ant. Scientists recently discovered mysterious ants in the belly of a bright orange tropical frog. But why did the frogs eat the poisonous insects? Tree frogs Oophaga sylvatica, locally called devils, live in northwestern Ecuador. In order to somehow substantiate the strange find and study the amphibian's habitat, biologists had to sweat. Instead of taking the easy way out and dissecting the dead animals, they collected several members of the species, gave them a gastric lavage, and then released them unharmed back into the wild. Scientists at the University of Rochester, Christian Rabeling and his colleagues, suggest that the poisonous frogs owe their toxic secretions to a diet of ants. The ants, in turn, feed on plants that contain strong alkaloids, which the tree frogs metabolize and convert into components for defenses against predators. However, exactly what kind of relationship has developed between frogs and ants, as well as whether this is a kind of symbiosis between an ant colony and amphibians, is still a mystery. The only insect samples scientists have obtained directly from the digestive tract of tree frogs, and their homes in the wild have yet to be found. Well, as I promised, the video was interesting. So, subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.